Who is more important to the overall series, in your opinion? Is it Frodo or Sam?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Just because we never got to see Sam have to carry the burden as long as Frodo did. And what's really crazy about this too, I want people to realize that this entire journey happened in under a year. It's actually mentioned here from the time that they set out from the Shire to when the ring was cast into the fire. It was under a year's time. But Frodo had that ring around him in his home and just feeling the oppressive energy of it and carried it on him for basically the entirety of the journey outside that small time where Sam had to take it from his paralyzed body from the spider. So, and Sam already said he was feeling the weight of it just after, that day or day and a half or so, whatever the amount of time was that Sam had it. So it's easy to say that we could just, because Sam was so hopeful and he seemed to have strength coming from places that Frodo didn't, that Sam would be able to do it. But we really don't know the type of toll that this ring takes on you. And, it obviously ensnared Gollum's mind and it's ensnared great men's mind like Isildur. And so the fact that Frodo was able to fight it off as long as he can, that could potentially be more impressive. And maybe Sam couldn't have done that. That's a hard question for me to answer. I think they're both equally important to each other, and that's why they ended up going together when all the rest of the company split apart. I don't think either of them could do it without the other one, to be honest. I don't think Frodo could do it without Sam. I don't think Sam could do it without Frodo. It's just really hard for me to get an idea because who knows if they get that far if Sam, takes the ring from the beginning, and then obviously we know without Sam it would have been all for nothing because he would have been killed by the spider, Shelob. So, that's that best case scenario, right? That's assuming that Gollum didn't strangle Frodo in his sleep while Frodo was, trying to get some rest and fighting with the power of the ring in his mind at the same time. Didn't have Sam there to help keep watch over everything. So, I could hear the argument for either one. I truly have a hard time giving a direct answer. I really don't think either of them could have done it without the other. That's my true answer. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm going to 100% agree with you. That doesn't happen often. That doesn't happen often. I'll make the case for Sam in this sense here. He was, especially in these final chapters here, he was the MVP in these final chapters. Even out of the whole trap they were setting to cause a diversion for Sauron and everything, I still think Sam is the MVP there. If it wasn't for Sam, the ring wouldn't have gotten to the top of the mountain at all. That's it. However, I will say the reason they're equally important, I won't even go the route of how long the journey was with Frodo. If it wasn't for Frodo, Gollum wouldn't have been there at all. It's because Frodo kept giving him chances that Gollum happened to be there, and because Gollum didn't like Sam. So that's where Frodo kind of gets a one-up on, in my opinion. Yes, also, too, he did kind of bear the ring the whole time, but I think it was a more, if you're talking in terms of sports, I would say a more impactful play on Sam's terms at the very end there, kind of at the goal line for the touchdown, right? But how did you get the ball there? Someone's got to drive it downfield. So, yeah, I agree with you 100%. I would give them both equally. It was a true 50-50 for me, who's more important.